Hi friends, good evening. How are you all? Antenatal scans, are you all doing them? You can write in the chat box. So are you able to pick up anomalies at level 1? Have you found out? Very good. So are you people are getting high uterine artery PI on uterine artery Dopplers? And are you actually giving in the management recommendations to start aspirin in the first trimester? So any of you has found the effect of aspirin? Not yet? Why? So are you not doing it or not getting any positive finding yet? Not ready to interact? Okay. Anyways, I think ज़्यादा अभी थक रहे सब लोग colleges से वापस आए हैं. So everyone appears to be very tired. Let's follow up. Okay. Okay. So it's okay, but you must be getting, I think, high uterine artery PI or not. So has anyone found out any anomaly at level 1 scan? Okay. What did you find out, Sunny and Harsh? 5 more minutes. We'll just have this brief chat and then we'll start with the, today's session. So are you people doing TVS or not doing TVS for level 1? Occipital encephalocele at level 1. That's a good take. Himanshi, very good. Okay. So even if you're not going to, not getting good waveforms of uterine artery on the transabdominal scan, especially in the fatty woman, you can do it with the transvaginal scan, and then you just do the right and left, and the uterine artery Doppler will be much easier on the transvaginal scan as compared to the transabdominal scan. Anything else? Anyone has got increased NT? That's great. Anencephaly? Okay, that's very good. So maybe in the beginning of the class, you people, if you have good cases, you may just, one picture or something, you may post here so that everyone can have a look. Anyways, so starting with the today's session now and recollecting what we have already spoken about in the entire antenatal classes. So we began with our very early pregnancy scans, which is according to ESWOG is not recommended for every patient. It is so the first scan that is recommended is 11 to 14 week scan, and not the early scan unless a patient has any complications. So we read about the early pregnancy scan. We read that CRL has to be measured to assign dating to the pregnancy. And said that what are the and suspicious finding for pregnancy failure. Addition of Pannon carefully, we can raise up at as early as 8 weeks. And then we've said, so we've also said that then we'll do the level 1 scan. And the level one scan, we are doing a lot of things. We are calculating the aneuploidy risk, we are calculating the FGR risk, we are calculating the okay. So after the level 1 scan, so it was the first checkpoint. The level 1 scan or the first trimester anomaly scan is the first checkpoint. So if a fetus, because we're seeing so many things, we're seeing for the fundic bubble, we're seeing for the kidneys and every part of the body as a whole. So, it is a first checkpoint. If the fetus has crossed this checkpoint, it has come to you for a second trimester anomaly scan, then your job is already, much less, because now you know that most of the anomalies, most of the at least lethal anomalies have already been ruled out. So you need to know that what part of the body wasn't very well seen in the what part of the anomalies were not very well seen in the early anomaly scan at 11 to 14 weeks, and we need to give us we need to actually put in our head to see those things in the second trimester, right? So here you have to understand what are those things. So in the first scan, we said that we are seeing for the midline falx, we were seeing for the choroid plexus, but we have already said that the part of the CNS is not developed in the first trimester, right? So the cerebellum specifically and the corpus callosum was not that well developed during the first trimester scan. So we need to see those things specifically. The CNS part, we have to see it very carefully in the second trimester. Then coming on to the coming down on the body, that is from the head, we come to the face. So in the face, we already know that the nasal bone was present, and probably if someone has done a good job, then they would have told you if it was hypoplastic or not hypoplastic. So you know that at least it was present. So you're not that much concerned right now. But the lips you have not seen very well in the first trimester. So now it is important, this midline coronal image where you see the nostrils and the upper lip. It's a very important job of you to rule out cleft lip. So at least 2-3 things, there are certain things that you have to be very careful, because those things have not been seen by anyone in the first trimester. And once you say that the baby can pass through the second checkpoint, then anyone may not even get any opportunity to see those things in the right. We have seen the retronasal triangle, but isolated cleft lip is possible. Isolated cleft palate is very rare, but isolated cleft lip can still occur. So lips, that we have not seen it properly in the first trimester. And of course, the retronasal triangle we have seen, but many times when you actually see this retronasal triangle, like this mandibular gap and the maxilla and the palate. So sometimes because of the shadowing, or maybe someone has not done it accurately, this palette might not have been seen very well. So this is now our job to because we are passing the baby from the second checkpoint. These things are not very well visualized during the first scan. So in the second trimester scan, it is our duty to look for any kind of cleft lip which may be isolatedly present in the baby, right? So next thing, from the face, we go to the neck. And from the neck, and we have already seen that if NT was increased or not increased in the first scan. So if if there was any jugular cyst, we've already seen that. Then we come down to the chest level. So we come down to the chest level, and we know that this is a chest, and suppose this is the abdomen, and this is the diaphragm. So first I'm talking about the axial swipe. We are seeing it from the level of the head. Then we have in the axial itself. First we just take an axial swipe. We have seen from the level of the heads. We have seen the ventricular, thalamic, cerebellum plane. Simultaneously, we were seeing the two orbits. We were seeing like this. If this was a head, we were seeing the two orbits here. We measured the two orbits here. We measured the IOD. We measured the OOD. Then we went down. Then we saw this just below the nasal bones. We found this maxilla here, the alveolar ridge of the maxilla, and anterior to the alveolar ridge was the lip, and there was no defect which was present in the lip. Then we went down and we saw the mandibular, the alveolar ridge of the mandible, and we've seen that if it is hypoplastic or not hypoplastic by eyeballing itself. Then we go down to the level of the chest, and in the chest, we are going to see there will be two. If we cut out from here, we'll find that in the center there will be a heart with the apex towards the left side, and we have the two lungs which are lying here. And on the eyeballing itself, I've seen that grossly the size appears normal, and I have seen on the axial swipe where the apex is lying. If the apex is lying on this side, then I immediately have gone down and I've seen that the heart is beating, so cardiac activity is present, so the baby is at least alive. Then I have gone to the section of the abdomen, and I've seen that the fundic bubble is present on the same side as the heart. So and then if this is the vertebra, so fundic bubble is present on the same side as the cardiac apex, and that the aorta is present on the left, left and posteriorly, as compared to the IVC, which is placed a little anterior and towards the right of the aorta. So I know that the cardiac and the aortic discordance is present. I have to also relate these findings to the lie of the baby. So in the axial swipe itself, if this is the maternal body, so if this is a fundus, so if I'm starting from this point, with this axial swipe, I have seen that whether I encountered the head first or where the head was present, if it was here, wherever it was present. So I have kind of having an orientation of how the baby is lying within the body, so that I may be able to focus on each part well. So now if I know that the head is lying here and suppose the spine is posterior, so the left would be on this side, right? I have to imagine myself in the baby, in the mother womb. So if the head is here and the spine is posterior, then my left would be here if I'm lying like this. So if the fundic bubble has to be on the left side, right? So like that, you have to see how the things are lying according to the maternal habitus. then I know that the situs is at least soletus. I have seen this, so I have ruled out many lethal anomalies by doing this only, that the cardiac activity was present and the situs is normal. So there is at least no situs ambiguous problem in the baby. Then posteriorly I was looking some black thing that was adrenal, and I'm not going to mistake that for kidneys anymore. And now I'll go down and I'll come to the level of kidney. And how am I going to distinguish this? I didn't get this question, Nishu. I'm talking, no, if I have to see how the baby is lying within the womb, right? So if I see this, if this is the mother, right? So if it was a cephalic presentation, suppose cephalic presentation, the baby is lying like this, and the spine is suppose lateral. Suppose it is right lateral. So यानी कि baby का head इधर है, spine इधर है, right? So which if you just imagine yourself lying like this, which side of you is down and which side of you is up? Nishu, which side of you is up or which side of you is down? Where is your left side, down or up? So the left side is down. If I'm lying with the head in the cephalic position, my spine on the left lateral side of the mother, then my baby's left would be actually the lower one, right? So in this section, if this is the axial section, the spine is left lateral as compared to the mother. So here, the fundic bubble has to be this side, right? So that is how we are going to say that this is situs soletus.